So, I guess it's my turn to do our now 24 days of Advent beer and a take. Today I will be drinking the Sam Adams Old Fezziwig. This beer is, generally speaking, it's a spiced ale, and it's got a very deep malt, and it's got toffee with a rich dark caramel color to it. As you can see, it's got a very dark color to it. My take for tonight is going to be talking about the MLB. Its current lockout is based on a few different circumstances. One of those circumstances being that the ownership wants expanded playoffs. Now, there are pros and there are cons that come with expanded playoffs. One of the pros being that there are more games, which means more money for the owners. And that's what really they're all about, right? Because baseball, as with all sports, are now a business. The other pro that comes along with that is that it'll keep more teams relevant. There's a lot of teams that by the All-Star game, they're out. That's it. They have no hopes of making the playoffs. It's a killer for that fan base. Now, the cons with it is for the players, that means there's more games. For good teams, there's more opportunity to lose because the playoffs are usually a very volatile environment, as seen this season when the Braves took it all after having the worst record getting into the playoffs. At the same time, for me at least, I think it's a bad thing simply because baseball is the last sport where making the playoffs actually means something. The other three major American sports, making the playoffs is a very routine thing. Over half the league in basketball makes the playoffs in the NBA, and about half the team in the NHL make the playoffs. So you don't necessarily have to actually be good at the sport that you play. You just have to not lose too much. You're going to make the playoffs more than likely than not. You really have to be a very top tier team. Making the playoffs is not easy in baseball. I'm not saying that it's easy in the other sports, but it's definitely easier when 16 teams out of 30 are making the playoffs. You know, in baseball, you'll never have a team with a losing record make the playoffs, but we've seen it in basketball, we've seen it in hockey, and we've seen it in football. So, you know, that's just kind of my thought process on the entire thing. Definitely gives me a little bit of like a Christmassy vibe to it. The one thing I will say is I like the old bottle better. So the Sam Adams bottle used to have like a cartoon of an old man. As I finish this beer, that's my beer and a take. Out of 4 flights, I'll give this a 2.5. It's definitely got some good flavor to it. Definitely not something I would drink all year long. 5.9% alcohol. It's pretty decent for a regular beer. This isn't anything fancy or special, just a regular American beer. But you know, I think I like it more just because it's kind of a nostalgic thing. You know, old Fezziwig and a Christmas Carol. You know, definitely a holidays type deal. So 2.5 flights from me. Happy Hanukkah. Merry Christmas.